Welcome into another edition of The Session with Londa and David. My name is David Austin.
I'm Londa Sherwood Austin. Welcome back.
You look spectacular today in this whole business casual thing you got cooking.
That's generally just my vibe.
I love it. The sport coat with your hair flowing freely. It's gorgeous.
Easy trigger. I appreciate the I don't know.
The accolades?
Yes,
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
You just look great, and I'm thrilled to be here with you.
Thank you.
Some people this morning said to me, David, I tried to listen to the show this morning with my coffee, and it wasn't there. And the reason it wasn't there is because why?
It's the same reason I have bags under my eyes.
Because you were watching the Grand Boys yesterday.
So, lucky me.
Okay.
I am the one who gets that text at 3 a.m. Hey, our babysitter just canceled. Neither one of us can call out. Could you be here at 6:30?
I like that. I think that's cool. That's why we moved back to town.
It is.
So
I mean, it is. That's the whole gig, right? Like I'd rather that than not be around our people.
There you go.
So I got to be with two of the grand boys yesterday.
Nice.
A little baby one and a very busy, active toddler one.
Right.
And put in a 9-hour shift without a break. Holy shit. It was a lot. And so today, my body is a little tired and a little sore, and but it's great. For so many reasons. But the biggest kick I get out of it, okay? And if you are a grandparent currently, you'll understand what I'm about to say. So different generations do things differently.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And once your kids are grown and you're into like the grandparenting stage of things, you might be like me and reflect on your parenting style and regret some of it. Maybe. Okay. I'm just saying. So I wish I had done some things differently.
Okay.
So the most fun part of it for me, and I think it's my sales brain that does this, is yesterday I got a 3-year-old who at the drop of a hat, everything becomes a confrontation. Right?
Sure.
So you can't say, hey, go pick that up. No, because you've just created a fight. Like, it's on, whether you want it to be or not. Okay?
Well, he's small. You can take him. If there's a fight, no. You can take him.
No, but you know what I mean, though. So my brain goes, okay, I'm going to figure you out before the end of the day.
Right.
And I'm going to figure out how to get you to do what I want you to do without triggering your propensity toward confrontation and power struggle.
Sure.
Right? This is a kid. Okay. Any kid who does that is a kid who is a future leader. That I can tell you.
Okay.
A kid who you power struggle with is a kid who's got leadership skills and leadership tendency and leadership in their DNA, for sure, because they want to be in charge. They want to be in charge. They want to make all the decisions, and someday they're going to be able to be.
I gotcha.
But figuring out how to navigate that and structure my language, and how do I get you to do what I want you to do without triggering that power struggle thing. I'm telling you what, and this is why I'm a sales trainer, because I did, and we had one little kind of emotional moment that lasted not very long at all. Emotional for him, not me.
Right.
But and that was it. And this is unusual, right, for this kid. So it was a great day figuring all that out. And thankfully, his baby brother is just the sweetest, most go with the flow, relaxed, predictable little baby ever. And so that was easy, right? That part was easy, except very involved, right? Because babies, I don't know if you know, babies don't do anything for themselves. So, so anyway, it was a lot of fun for me just trying to figure out like, okay, your usual, would you like this or this wasn't working.
Sure.
So now I got to kick my brain in and go, okay, how do I do? So it's kind of like overcoming objections with a client or figuring out what makes somebody tick so I can now learn their language and we're speaking the same language. That's actually probably the best way to put it. Like I'm speaking German. He's speaking German.
Yes, because it's angry sounding.
Yeah. And I'm speaking French and we're just missing on the communication. But, it didn't take me very long to learn German.
There you go.
It was
then you clean your room.
No. And it was such a lovely time. And while I was, exhausted when I got home, I would rather have those kind of days where I'm exhausted mentally and physically and be a part of my kids and my grandkids' lives.
I love that. I loved it this morning when you said to me, man, I feel like I worked out all day yesterday. And then you thought about it. You were on your feet the entire 9 hours.
I was up and down. I did a lot of squats, right?
Picking up and setting down children, carrying them around.
Yeah. And I thought, why do my abs hurt? My abs hurt. But then I remembered when we were in the playroom for a 3-year-old, playroom for under 1-year-old, there are very different activities going on.
Yes. And
I'm in the middle of the playroom, and the 3-year-old's over here being very happily engaged in what he's doing because I'm also engaged, but the under 1-year-old keeps trying to crawl over. And so I spent at least an hour doing this.
And the motion is lifting a child
with
and setting
weight.
them on the other side, just like a medicine ball.
With a weight.
You were doing the medicine ball exercise is what you were doing, side to side.
Yeah, with like
side
a 16-pound weight.
Yeah.
For like an hour.
Yeah.
No wonder I'm sore. So thank you for the workout and the time with the babies.
That was great. The Session with Londa and David is a business program that focuses on 3 things that we are intensely interested in. They are real estate, restaurants, and retail. And we've both worked in all of those areas.
Worked in all of them, coached all of them. I've consulted all of them. I love all of them. Everybody does. Who doesn't?
Everybody does.
Everybody.
It's brought to you each and every week by Sherwood Austin Homes. Spring has sprung. And here's what I mean by that. I know technically it doesn't spring until the 19th. Whatever. What I'm saying is the sun is up and people are starting to get excited about life.
I can tell you the allergens.
It's a renewal.
The allergens are, look at my eyes. Zoom in, look at my eyes.
2 weeks ago, everywhere you were, you saw tumbleweeds rolling across the interstate. 2 weeks ago, today, it looks like a beautiful spring day. So I'm here to tell you the home buying season is starting to heat up. And if you want to find out if it makes sense for you to consider a new property, SherwoodAustinHomes.com is your one-stop shop to do it. SherwoodAustinHomes.com. You get 2 realtors for the price of one and a lender. SherwoodAustinHomes.com.
Actually, I was just looking at numbers this morning, and one of our listings in the last week has gotten triple the exposure
there you go.
that it was getting. So I loved being able to send that update to the seller and say, hey, with the little warmer weather, with your price improvement, and with our this last week of marketing, we've seen triple the clicks, triple the interest. And so that was really exciting to be able to share. So we're things are moving along.
Don't wait until every house in your neighborhood is listed for sale. Get in touch with us at SherwoodAustinHomes.com and let us come out and talk to you about whether or not it makes sense to do a move with us.
Because sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it doesn't.
It doesn't make sense.
Sometimes it doesn't. But, if you have a need, we want to help.
In fact, we were in a meeting last week and somebody said, as realtors, when somebody asks you, should I buy or sell? Of course, we always say yes, because and you jumped up and you were like, whoa, no, we don't.
No, we for sure don't. We ask questions.
Because it doesn't always make sense. Yeah, that whole class was about asking more and better questions.
That's exactly right.
Right.
And I was having a conversation today with one of my buddies at Red Mountain Mortgage, because, that's where I hang my mortgage license now. And we were talking about how there's synergy and things are starting to happen over there. And it's because everybody there's excited about what's going on in the marketplace. And that's a kind of cool place to be in. 6 months ago, the language wasn't as rosy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I'm very, very excited. I also had a meeting this morning with our real estate office leadership, and I can't talk about it, but I'm so excited.
You fully are talking about it right now.
Yeah, I know. I know. Londa, you're just dangling a carrot. I sure am. I am super jazzed. Also, thank you for this coffee. It's saving my life. Look, I have a hot drink and an iced drink. Because I think allergies, I'm like, my throat is all scratchy, but also I talked the entire day yesterday while I was with the littles. Because I engage them all day long and I talk all day long.
Right.
That's just how I do. Like, I talk about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And I got the 3-year-old to eat a lettuce wrap. Do you know how I did it? This was part of how, this is how I already figured out his language.
Okay.
He wanted cereal for lunch.
All right.
Okay, what do I care? Right?
Sure.
The fuck do I care? I don't care. You can have cereal for lunch. Sure. It's not a traditional lunch, but what do I care? He's eating, right?
Well, the head of Kellogg's would love for people to have cereal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
But and his parents' philosophy is a fed child is a happy child. So
That's
they don't
true.
have a lot of rules around eating. So I'm like, great, awesome. You want cereal? You bet. So he sits down with the cereal. He wants it dry in a bowl with a cup of milk on the side.
Sure.
And I knew all that because I asked questions. Do you want your cereal on a plate or in a bowl? Seems like a dumb question, but I want him to feel like he's got control of what's happening.
Sure.
Do you see?
Yeah. Smart.
Do you want milk? Yeah. Do you want it in the cereal or in a cup on the side? In a cup. Okay. Do you want this cup or this cup? I mean, he was eating out of my hand by this time.
Sure.
Okay. So anyway, so I made a lettuce wrap with turkey. It's a piece of lettuce with turkey in it, and I like a squirt of mustard.
It feels like a sandwich, but there's no bread.
I wrap it up like a little burrito.
Yeah.
And I sit down because we eat at the table, which was another thing that I had to discuss.
Negotiate.
This is the table and where we eat. And listen, you think I'm just talking about my grandkid. I'm not. I'm talking about how to win every time in whatever situation. He wanted to eat at the downstairs table, his little kid table.
Okay.
Well, I don't want him to eat down there. I want him to eat at the dining room table.
Right.
Because that's just like my thing, right? So this is what I said. We're not allowed to do that. I can't even eat at your little table. I have to eat at this table because it's mom and dad have said we can eat at this table, but I don't think we're allowed to eat at any other table. So we have to eat at this table.
Sure.
And you know what I did there? I became an ally with him.
Smart.
Right? So anyway, we sit at the table. We're eating. I'm eating my little lettuce wrap. So he goes, "What's that?" I said, "Oh, it's a lettuce wrap." And he's looking. And I said, "See, what I like to do, Grandpa really likes them too." Because he thinks Grandpa's the coolest. So I use it as a sales tool. I go, "Grandpa loves these." So I take a piece of lettuce and I take some turkey. Do you like turkey or not really? And he goes, "No, I like turkey." Okay. So I take some turkey and I put it in there. And then I just roll it up like a little burrito. Like how your mom wraps up Rain, his little brother. And then I just...
And he was like a
little bunny rabbit.
Right.
And that's exactly what he said.
It's funny.
Can I have one? I said, "Oh, you want to try one of these?"
Uh-huh.
And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, sure. Do you want to help me make it?" Which is how you 100% get buy-in from kids.
You got the full lockdown at that moment.
Let me tell you. I felt like I won a multi-million-dollar listing. It's the same feeling.
You felt like Ryan Gosling, even though he didn't win an Oscar. He did win the Oscars.
Right.
He won the show.
That's right.
With I'm Just Ken.
Right.
That was such a cool
It was a great performance. I mean, his vocal quality, not stellar. Performance was out of this world.
He's a good singer. He's not a good vocalist. Here's what I mean by that. He knows how to put on a performance because he was a Disney kid.
Disney baby, yeah.
You know, when I was at Disney MGM Studios, he was in the Mickey Mouse Club. Mm-hmm. I saw him all the time. I don't know what you're looking at.
Oh, well, I can't. Normally, I can see the time. But I can't see the time.
I have it set on a different thing because I thought you were going to tell a story and I was going to have to play the sad trombone.
Oh!
But I didn't. I didn't have to.
You have it on there so that you could play with your sound effects?
Uh-huh.
I love that.
That way I know which one's which.
But you thought it was going to be a sad story?
No, I thought you were going to say, no, we can't do that. And then I was going to do that.
Oh, I see.
Imagine if you will. Okay.
Oh, my God. Okay, yes.
So
that was great sales training I just gave you.
It really is great sales training.
And here's the thing. You might not think you're in sales, but let's say you volunteer at your church and you lead something.
Oh, I like that. I like where this is going.
You're in sales.
Yes.
Because you have a bunch of volunteers and you've got to sell them on showing up and giving their time and giving their talent. And giving,
it's funny. It's funny that you talk about that because I was talking this morning with my coworkers at Red Mountain Mortgage, and we were talking about, you know, sometimes people give us things that they want us to talk about, and one of the guys says, spring, what happens in the spring? So we'll talk about that. We'll get to that. And we were talking about a sales opportunity we had because of a file. And so here's what happened on the file. The client went out and spent about $1,000 more than he should have on his revolving debt, and his credit score dropped 20 points. So before we called the client, I said, let's pull up his original credit report and this newest one that we had to do at the end, and they do it to see if they've incurred more debt.
Okay.
Right? Well, in this case, he did incur more debt and it dropped his score. So now I've got to be able to explain to the client why his score went down, right?
Okay.
And, you know, most loan officers, when something like that happens, get upset with the system, and there's something wrong with the system, and we internalize it, and we feel like we're jerks. That's basically how we think about it, because it's not what we said at the beginning, right?
Oh.
Well, what I wanted to do before I called the client was find out why his score dropped 20 points. And it's because he charged up a revolving card that I told him up front not to charge. Pay cash, don't use your cards. Okay, no problem. And so the score dropped. And so that changed his final numbers a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. So the reason I wanted to know exactly how it happened was because in every story, there's a bad guy.
There's a villain.
In every story.
Yep.
And I wanted to make sure I wasn't the villain.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if your lender calls you and there's a quick change at the end.
Yeah, it's called a drama triangle.
Right. And so what I did was I found out exactly where the problem came up. And when I called my client, I said, hey, I have a question for you. And he said, okay. I said, you and I talked about not spending any money on credit cards, right? Oh, yeah, but my so-and-so card, I bought some supplies for the house. Remember how we talked about that, though? Yeah. Well, that's lowered your credit score 20 points. And he goes, damn it. Not mad at me.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so we solved the problem. He still gets to buy the house.
Yeah.
There's just a little more expense involved.
Yeah.
But boy, I tell you, if you're in any kind of sales situation, this is the real sales part of this conversation. Right, yeah. You need to be able to explain to your customers in an unimpassioned way what's going on with their deal. It's not always good news. It's not always bad news, but you need to be able to deliver the news.
Okay, you actually hit on something really important. You said in a non-impassioned way.
Yes.
That actually is the trick to parenting.
Yes.
To sales, to relationships.
Right. Interpersonal relational skills.
Being able to remove yourself from the emotion of the situation into the logic of the situation.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
From the monkey brain to the angel brain, whatever terminology you use.
Right.
Super important.
Right.
Because if I'm spun up, I can't get the 3-year-old out of their spin up. And if I'm spun up, I can't get, we just talked this morning about this.
Right.
I had a client that said something to me out of left field. This is a while ago, out of left field. I was not expecting it. It hit me wrong. It touched on one of my things. It triggered my sensitive little trigger of betrayal.
Sure.
And I did not respond well because I couldn't think. I just agreed. I fawned is what I did.
Sure.
If you don't know what that is, you've heard of fight or flight. Well, it's not just fight or flight. There's actually 4 responses: fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Fawn is where you just agree.
Okay.
You just agree with everything that's being said.
Yes.
I see what you did there. Well, I went into a panic response and just agreed with what they said.
Which is fawn.
Which is fawning.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Which I've done it to you. You might not recognize, but when I feel like you're coming at me.
Oh, I'm coming at you.
In a confrontational way, whether you are or not, if my brain interprets it that way, like when you raise your voice, which I don't know if you've ever met David
I'm
Ostead.
a loud talker.
He raises his voice a lot. He gets pretty impassioned. But if you raise your voice at me, sometimes my brain doesn't know what to do with it. And I fawn.
I gotcha.
Immediately, I'll just start agreeing with you. Okay, it sounds like that. Okay, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Of course, yeah.
I always find that a little jarring when that happens.
Good.
And I don't know what to do with it. Every time I freeze. That's me freezing.
Oh, shit. Now we're triggering each other. Anyway, okay. All that to say, what's next?
Well, we need to do a couple of things. We need to do the restaurant review nobody asked for.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people have been talking about is the way you pull up the MLS at the end of the show. So we have 2 more things we need to do in the next 10 minutes. So go ahead.
Before I do that, I have to tell our audience, if you're watching this video, something that I feel very self-conscious about, but it also is a really good trick for you to know. So before we started, I asked David, button or unbutton my jacket, button or unbutton. And you were like, nobody cares. And you're right. Nobody does care. So I left it unbuttoned. And about 5 minutes ago, I realized, oh no, with it unbuttoned, you can see that I have a safety pin on the inside of my button.
I see you holding it up, and I wouldn't have seen it, even with you holding it up and pointing it out.
Well, and I just unhooked it, which is my dumb self doing that. The trick, though, to take from this is I didn't have time
to sew your button back on,
to hook my button back on, and so you can just safety pin it from the back, and it works great.
Well, that's a cool tip because I've never heard of that.
There's your homemaker tip of the day. Okay, I don't know. That's not really a segment that we do, but professional tip of the day. I don't know. All right.
Okay, I want to do
the only notes that I have
quickly some of the things from our restaurant review that nobody asked for. Fred Meyer Sushi, go.
Oh my gosh, you guys. David teases me and calls it gas station sushi.
I sure do.
I went to Fred Meyer. I always see the sushi guy back there. There's a guy standing back there making fresh sushi all the time, and it looks great. So I wanted to try it.
Sure.
I finally bit the bullet. I got what you call the gas station sushi. It's Fred Meyer sushi. I've asked people about it. I did my research. I asked people. People rave about it. Okay, great.
It's fresh. It's made there. They're doing it in front of you.
Yeah, and the guy was really nice too.
Right.
And helpful and everything. I was like, is that the crunchy roll? Because that's what I really wanted. Fantastic.
Okay.
The taste was amazing. It was a little too sweet for you. You felt.
Yeah, there was something sweet about it.
We were out of soy sauce, which was disappointing when I got home. But
I bet they give you packets if you ask for them. They
probably do. Here's my problem. What I didn't realize is the reason, while I was eating it, is the reason it tasted sweet to me was that it had fresh garlic in it.
Which is an allergic reaction waiting to happen for you.
If you're listening to this and you know me, you just gasped. Oh, worse than that. Worse than that. So, yeah, I have a severe garlic allergy. And so it didn't end up well for me, as it were, but it tasted great on the front end.
Okay.
Not good on the back.
I'm just going through the restaurants we went to in the last
we made a
4
note.
days.
We never prepare for this show. I'm sorry to tell you. But we did make a note today with all the restaurants.
Sure.
We went to this
so we went to the pub because with spring being out, fried food that's bad for you is spectacular. So we went to the pub and split a pub appetizer platter, which is my favorite thing to do at the pub. And we got chicken strips, 2 of those big fat wide chicken strips. We got finger steaks, spectacularly horrible
French
for
fries.
you. French fries comes with it. It's a side of fries, but then we got a
cheddar
mistake.
tots.
A mistake is the cheddar tots.
Don't do it.
Never do it.
And honestly, it was a miss for me. The whole thing was a miss. However, we ran into friends. The service was terrific. That part of the experience was great.
It was exactly what I wanted to get out of it.
All right, there you go.
The food was trash food. I got ranch dressing and I rubbed it all over my face.
No,
so
you didn't.
Had a great time. The best part is we ran into a home inspector who picked up our meal.
I don't know if they're supposed to. We don't know anything about. We ran into a friend,
Right?
who picked up our tab. So that's the pub on Clearwater Avenue in Kennewick, Washington.
And what a wonderful time. So that was great. And then Friday night we went to Cedars.
Yes,
And-
and also in Kennewick, Washington.
That's exactly right, at Clover Island.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, it's the place, if you're from here, it's the place that you went to if you had a daddy-daughter dance, or if, you went there before homecoming, or maybe for your grandparents' anniversary.
And you always get a rum barrel. I don't get them because they're sweet.
No, I didn't get a rum barrel. For me, being here for 30 plus years now, it was kind of fancy to go to Cedars.
Right.
That was like a fancy dinner out with your spouse or something. Like that's an anniversary dinner place.
Sure.
In my brain, it's just a restaurant.
Our server was great, a friend of the table, because the person we were with who ended up picking up our meal, that's 2 meals in one day, by the way.
It was crazy. Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you again.
They're
for
friends and used to serve together at
some other restaurant.
the one with the bird and the burgers. It's like Burger King but a full restaurant.
Red Robin.
Red Robin, that's it. The bird and the burgers.
The bird and the burgers. Yeah, and the server, I got to tell you this, they were slammed.
Right.
And so we were just so nice. When they first came to the table, she was like, sorry for the wait. I said, hey, we're very chill and we're not in any hurry, so we're not going to give you any trouble all night. We're going to be the easiest table you have.
That's right.
If you can pass a kind word to somebody who's like frazzled, do it, because it's worth it.
It's exactly the same as you did with our grandson, Elijah. You made an ally out of the server.
Sure. Well, yeah, I guess so.
And once you do that, once you're in it together, it's hard to not have a good experience on either side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I want to be in it with people, because one reason is I really have like this drive for understanding how people think.
Yeah.
Right. But also because I have a lot of empathy and I want to be on your team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's team up and let's be in this together. So what did you think of the food?
I thought the food was adequate. I didn't think it was bad, but the burger was overdone. And maybe that's just how they do it, because it's a food service kind of patty thing. Mm-hmm. And the burger itself was a little overdone for my liking. I like it when they ask you how you want it and you say medium and it comes out medium well, really, right? Restaurants don't really go to the raw end anymore with burgers.
Right.
But it was a little charbroiled for my liking.
I got the French dip that I deserved to have the week before.
Yeah. You got the French dip that you should have had 2 weeks before.
Whenever that was.
Yes, the worst French dip you ever had. And we're not going to make fun of the sports page. That's not what we're doing here. What I'm saying is the French dip that you had, you raved about.
The French dip at Cedars was really great. Now,
and are still talking about it right now.
Yeah. I just mostly ate the guts out of it, because I didn't
that's
want the
do.
bread.
Yeah.
I wanted the bread, but I didn't have the bread. My tummy was still feeling a little rumbly from a different thing. So the company was spectacular. The view is always beautiful.
And the drinks were great.
Yeah.
So it's a big win for me. And I did have the fries, and the fries were spectacular. So it was a big, big win, even though to me the meat was a little overdone. Just a little.
Saturday night, we popped into at Michelle's in Richland, Washington, for drinks and dancing.
Oh, yes?
And their service sucked, just like always.
Well,
I'm saying it.
I know you were not going to tip the kid. Thank God I had cash. Because we don't need to 2 times in a row not tip that kid right. Same kid.
Oh, my God. If you want... No, let's get into it. You said it. If you want a tip, perform a service.
Yeah. So the problem I have with that restaurant specifically at Michelle's is the food's okay. Well, and the service is worse. That's the problem I have with it. The facility is spectacular. It's an awesome place to be. It looks great.
Yeah, and figure your shit out,
But
dude.
you went up to the bar to order, and the bartender said, "No, I'm making drinks. You got to find a server."
Yeah,
that's unacceptable.
In a really hostile way.
That's unacceptable.
I don't take orders here. You have to find a server. So then found a server. What did I do? I stood with my hand in the air like a kid in a classroom for 10 minutes waiting for someone to finally see us. Anyway, server comes over and I said, I think we're supposed to get with you for drinks. Is that right? Because he didn't walk up and say, "Hey, what can I get for you?" He just walked up and stood there.
He looked confused because we were in the bar and he thought the bartender was taking care of us. Right.
And that's not deserving of a tip. Walks up, stands there and stares at me. Doesn't say, "Hey, what can I get for you? How can I help?"
Sure.
Okay, zip, zap. I'm mad. Okay, so I said, I think we're supposed to order from you because I went to the bar and they yelled at me and told me I needed to find a server. And he goes, "That's not true." I was like, "Well, it happened."
Right.
I will say this, the one redeeming moment there, besides the band was great. When I saw our drinks come up on the counter for the server, I just went over and grabbed them. I said, "Hey, is this the double tall Captain and Diet and the Bullet Rye or Bullet Whiskey?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "I'll go ahead and take them." And she goes, "Oh my gosh, that's so nice of you. Thank you." I said, "Well, I'll save somebody a few steps." So by the way, if you wanted to tip somebody.
Tip Londa. I got.
Oh, stop! Nope. Nope.
We're a husband and wife team, by the way. So the password, you know it.
I don't.
Well, that's too bad then. I'll type it in for you.
And you also went to the original Pancake House this last week in Kennewick or Richland? Which one?
Richland.
Richland. And so, how was that for you?
Spectacular. I love going and having breakfast with my buddy Jason. We've been friends for 20 years. He's my oldest friend in town. So that was a lovely time. That was spectacular. Start to finish.
Good.
Okay, we've come to the part of the show where we pull up the MLS and look at the new houses on the market. I want to point out that the first time we did this, there were 9 new houses. The second time we did this, there were 12 new houses. And today, I think it said 27.
27 new listings. I saw a great ad the other day, and shout out to Luis Valdez at Keller Williams Real Estate, a competing realtor. But damn, that was good. He had a little graphic that said there are 756 homes on the market, and I've got keys to all of them.
Smart,
so smart. I sent him a message. I said, "This ad's brilliant, dude. You're killing it."
Yep.
Okay, so we like to give you a snapshot of what's available in the Tri-Cities, Washington.
Sure.
And what does $200,000 get you? You know what I'm saying?
What does $200,000 get you?
Well, I've got one right here that is in Kennewick, Washington.
Okay.
It's $185,000. Okay. And it gets you a 2-bedroom, 1-bath condo. This listing is courtesy of Bob Rolfe from Desert Hills Realty. We always want to give credit where credit's due. This is on Hood Avenue in Kennewick. And let's take a quick peek. This is what $185,000 could get you in.
They sprung for the Twilight photo. I like that. It's at the Ivy Club.
The Ivy Club.
Yep.
Which I think you get like a little garage and a pool, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You do. You get a 2-car garage, I think. Yeah, that's not terrible.
That's not terrible.
It's got a window unit and some floor, baseboard heaters.
Yo, if you want to live in a condo and have 2-bedroom and 1 bath, I mean, that's kind of the place to do it, right? You got a washer dryer.
Oh, you got your own private space. That looks like
you got a garage.
2-car deep, but not 2-car wide.
You can put a chair out there and do some sun tanning.
Smoke your cigarettes out there.
850 square feet, built in 1976. That's what $185,000 will get you.
What's the HOA fee? I'm always interested to know that.
I don't know.
It should be in the listing. I can't see. I'm not.
$300 a month.
Okay,
Holy!
So it's $300 a month. So you got to remember, it's a $185,000 deal, but it's as though you're buying a $220,000 house because of that monthly fee.
My goodness. All right, let's go back here. Let's go mid-range.
Okay.
Of the new listings, what's our most expensive one down here?
I don't know.
Why am I not seeing it?
The prices are where it says price, right in the middle, the price thing. It's right here, price.
Yeah. So 1.4, almost 1.345 million. So I just wanted to see our top numbers so I can pick like something in the middle here ish. All right, let's make a big jump to $500,000.
Okay.
What does $500,000 get you in Tri-Cities, Washington? Well, you can go 475 or 525. Which way do you want to go, David?
I'd rather go 525.
Let's go. This is in Richland, Washington. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home in Richland, Washington.
Okay.
2138 square feet. This is I'm not going to give him any courtesy. He's not part of our MLS. This is like that guy that does the MLS for sale by owner or whatever.
Patrick Scacco?
Chris Nye.
Oh.
All right, here we go. So this is what $525,000-ish might get you in Richland, Washington.
I like the recessed lighting.
And you might ask yourself, does the basketball hoop come with it? Well, if you write it into the offer, it does.
Right.
That's it. Those are all the pictures. That's why you don't do the MLS.
Wow.
MLS for you.
Wait a second. 525 and they had 4 pictures taken with a cell phone. Are you kidding me right now?
That's why you don't do the MLS for owners thing. You actually hire a real realtor. Let's take a look at this one. I'm curious about
the 475 that's actually listed by an agent.
No. This is $530,000, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath on Oklahoma Street in Kennewick. This is courtesy of our own Irene Eusebio from Realty One Group. And here are the photos. It's listed for $530,000.
Okay.
Here we go. 3-car garage.
I like that.
At an angle.
Lots of garage That's lovely.
Well appointed.
Yes, well appointed. The media wall. I don't hate that.
They did a good job getting
I
this
like
ready.
The backsplash. Look at that.
They did a good job getting this ready. This is what you want to see. You want to see clean, neat. You know what I mean? You don't have to completely depersonalize your home.
Right.
But clean, neat as a pin. I like it.
Is it staged or are they
really
living?
Well.
They're living there. Yeah, they're living there. No, they're not. It's staged.
We don't know. There's food there. Maybe they're in between.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know what their business is.
It looks staged. It's lovely.
They may have used their own furniture to stage it.
I gotcha.
That's what I'm trying to. Who cares if it's staged or not? I'm trying to get you off that. But.
No, it doesn't matter if it's staged, but it looks perfect, and that's because it's probably staged.
Looks really, really good.
Yeah, I love it.
No, it is not professionally staged.
You don't think so?
It's probably staged with their own furniture.
Okay,
They're probably in between.
I think it looks great.
Yeah.
What a good representation of what this house can look like.
Love that it has a bathtub. Can we stop building houses without tubs? Listen, from a tub girl, I need you to know. Oh,
I got to tell you.
What, a fountain? Nobody saw that coming.
A $10,000 more listing than the list it by yourself house. And one's inviting and the other is not. Do you know what I mean?
Let's go to $1 million.
Okay.
This is just under $1 million. And this listing comes to us from Kia Longan
Kia.
at Windermere Group 1 Tri-Cities. It's a 5-bedroom, 4-bath. It's 3,371 square feet. Built in 2024.
Oh, brand new construction.
Brand new, baby.
Is that a picture of a to be built? It is.
Yeah, it's a floor plan. That's okay. We can still go through it.
Yeah.
Primary suites on each level.
Okay.
Solar panels.
And here's one that's already been built.
For $1 million, you can have something similar to this.
Yes.
Very white. I'm so over the white and the gray and the blue. And some personality.
I sure do like it.
Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't say no to it if someone wanted to buy it for me like they did our dinner Friday night.
Right.
Absolutely. Thank you.
For sure, yes.
Yeah.
To dinner. Yes. Okay.
So here's a tip for you if you're a consumer. If you're a realtor watching this, you don't need to know this. But if you're a consumer and you're listening or watching this, I'm going to tell you right now, you've got to look at the walls, not the furniture.
Okay, tell me why that is.
So you can stage a home really beautifully, and people will miss things because they're looking at the staging.
I gotcha.
If you focus on the walls and the floor, like make your eye go to the baseboards and the corners of the wall, you're going to notice things you wouldn't otherwise if it's staged.
Now I know why. When you moved into my house in West Richland, because we never dated and we got married 3 weeks after we decided we loved one another, you said to me, the person cleaning your house isn't doing a good job.
Yeah.
And I looked around my house, which looked like a staged model home at the time, and said, what are you talking about? It's because you were looking at the baseboards and the walls.
Yeah, I've trained myself as a realtor to look at the floors, the baseboards, the walls, the corners, because you miss stuff. You can be really easily distracted by staging. Staging is there to help you see what it might look like lived in, right? But it also can be a tool to distract.
Yeah.
So you got to really pay attention.
Okay.
So there you go. There's the review of the market.
I like it.
Coming in hot. We're excited
it.
for our fellow realtors. We see that you guys are getting busier, and we're thrilled.
I love it that spring has sprung.
Yeah.
And that's the moral of this story here. It's getting prettier. We've already switched to daylight savings time.
Yay!
So it's lighter a little bit later, but it's light at night longer. So, it doesn't get bright at 5 a.m. anymore. Now it gets bright at 6 a.m. And that's a little weird for me because I'm always up at like 4:45 or earlier. So I don't love that. So it's not great for my clock. But whatever the case, there's much more daylight at the end of the day. So it's going to be less sad.
Yay!
You know what I mean? When I leave racquetball tonight, the sun will still be up.
Oh, was it last week we did our sad podcast?
I don't remember. Yes, you were sad, but you kept going. And nobody would have known if you didn't bring it up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, though, now it's public news. Our oldest daughter is moving away from us.
Right, yeah. And she's moving somewhere else for new opportunities, not moving away from us. This has been The Session with Londa and David.